Today is 22nd of May. Market today trade a narrow range bar, average volume down 2.46 point at 3880. Now if we take a look at the last couple of days, it's actually a series of narrow range bars, so it's an indication of weak market sentiment. Now this happens after the wide range reversal bar. So right now it's actually marking time. So we do have a resistance here at 3950. This is important to watch, and the support remain at 3800. On the weekly charts, perhaps you give it some clarity. So you notice we have very sharp upward move after the severe sell down, managed to close the gap, which is positive. And right now at the resistance level 3950, there's a pullback. So I'd like to see whether you can attempt at this level and stage a breakup. So there's a tendency for the right side of the chart here to mirror what happens on the left side. Now let's take a look at the US markets. This is Nasdaq. Weekly chart of Nasdaq. Notice very strong upward move, and here we have a bullish gap. In the process, it's managed to clear the 40 weeks, 200 days moving average. And right now, this week itself, this is an indication of temporary pause. So we got two more days to go. If we continue to trade in this same manner, rejecting the high, so we may actually see a further pullback, and the 40 weeks will provide some level of support. Now this gap itself is also a support level to watch out. We do not like the gaps to be closed. Now the fact that we do have a bunch of congestion, a bunch of bar here, it does indicate that this is an important resistance level to contend with. This is S&P 500 on the daily charts. Notice a very nice run up, and we have experiencing a pullback. So on the weekly chart, it seems quite similar to Nasdaq, and you can see that actually here we have a congestion area here, and it may well get stuck here for a while. Now this gap here provides some level of support, and it's important to watch. We do not like the gaps to be closed. This is Brent crude. Mentioned before, the $70-71 is a very important level to watch. It has broken quite decisively, followed by a classic throwback. Now after this double swing, we actually see a bounce, so it may well be just consolidating below that. Now we just have news that the OPEC is increasing production, although it does not bode well for the price, so more likely will actually move down. This is the 10-year Treasury yield. We see strong upward move in the previous section itself, hitting a high of about 4.6. We have a resistance about 4.65. Now the fact this remained elevated, as mentioned in the previous video, it doesn't bode well for capital intensive industry. Now even though REITs in Singapore itself generally actually borrow in Sing dollar, and the SORA has been actually weakening, the borrowing cost has actually lowered, but somehow the REITs in our local market did not perform. So perceptions is reality, so the 10-year yield may have some impact. Let's turn attention to our local market. Let's start with the small cap stock. This is Centurion. Now after a very strong breakout here on high volume, stock actually trades sideways. Right now we have 4 inside bar. In today's bar, accompanied with low volume, this is healthy. We like to look for a decisive break above the day one high here of 136. This is a contraction setup. Bank United. After a strong upward move, experiencing pullback. It's just unfortunate that we have 2 wide range bar, but you notice the volume is actually very low, so this may indicate nervous selling. Whatever the case may be, at this point in time, it is still trading above rising 1326 SMA. This is a big dipper setup, 2-month comeback high. It's at 735. Oitech. mentioned in the previous videos, we have a high volume which is over here at 525, and today managed to actually breach it. During the downward move, you notice actually a series of narrow range bar. So we like to actually observe what happens. Now, important thing, we do not like this gap to be closed, and we like to see whether it can immediately recover this high volume resistance, which is at 525. Feeling which we may see further downward move. This is LHN approaching very obvious resistance, and you notice we have a pullback. Pullback is on lower volume. Here we have a small dipper setup. Look for a decisive break above 525. Hong Leong Asia. Now after the run up at the resistance, we see a pullback on low volume and stage a very nice breakout here, followed by another pullback. I'd like to see a decisive break above this high here of 121. Now you notice this is a high volume resistance, so you got to just take note of that when you approach this level. Food Empire, very strong upward move with this bullish gap, and over here we have another bullish gap followed by pullback. If you notice, the pullback has very low volume. This is a healthy sign. Look for decisive break above this high here, 182. Let's take a look at the bank stock, DBS. Mentioned previously, it is probably better to actually view this on the weekly charts. So if you notice actually the nice run up, and right now experiencing a pullback. Now even if you break on the upside here, we do have congestion areas to contend with. So we've got to observe. After this break, this high here, it's at $45. So it may be better for conservative traders or investors to wait for this high to be taken out and look for the new setup. Now apart from DBS, the two bank stocks pattern generally weak. So if you notice, this is OCBC trading below 1326 SMA. This is something we do not like. UOB, again quite similar, it's just that actually the patterns are much inferior. Strong move followed by pullback. So again, it's trading with downward pointing 13 SMA. The better bet is actually Singtel. So remember, we like to actually trade very obvious trend, and we avoid consolidations because it's just not going anywhere. So this is Singtel after release of result before market open, and they actually move up quite strongly on increased volume. In fact, yesterday we do see some overbought, but unfortunately at the resistance it actually rejects the high. But this is a nice so-called follow through. Look for pullback and look for new setups to go long.